You might think that you are aware of all of the things that are threatening you. Terrorism, natural disasters, or even global warming, to name a few examples. But there is another circumstance that, according to the US FDA, has now been recognized as a growing global threat. It's called antimicrobial resistance, and it's become a major concern in the healthcare field. A section in the Salem Press Encyclopedia of Health defines antimicrobial resistance as when microbes, so typically bacteria, change and resist the activity of antibiotic medications which attempt to slow bacterial growth or kill bacterial cells. This resistance is steadily increasing with no reverse, and the outlook and positivity for a cure are very dismal. Today I would like to talk to you about how it is happening and the steps that you should be taking so that when you want your medicine to work, it will. Modern medicine truly is a blessing, but as I said, its effectiveness is decreasing, and this is why. Research from the World Health Organization states that the evolution of resistant strains is a natural phenomenon that occurs when microorganisms replicate themselves, and when resistant traits are exchanged between them. Just like all living things, bacteria adapt as they multiply. Because bacteria are multiplying so much more quickly, they can make drastic changes in their DNA in a very short amount of time. According to author and pharmacist Nicole M. Van Huey, it takes about 1 decade to reduce antibiotic efficiency. That's fast. That means in your lifetime, a drug that would cure you as an infant would be so much more less effective, if not at all, by the time you're 60 years old. Statistics from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention state that each year in the United States, at least 2 million people become infected with bacteria that are resistant to the antibiotics, and at least 23,000 people die each year as a direct result of these infections. 23,000 people. That's 23,000 people that could have been cured, or the medicine once cured them and now isn't. And sadly, that number is only projected to worsen. There are a lot of factors that affect the amount of time it takes for bacteria to develop and adapt to a given drug. But because bacteria multiply so quickly, it is still happening fast enough for us to see its effects very clearly. Fred C. Tenover wrote that in his Oxford Journal about clinical infectious diseases that selective pressure refers to the environmental conditions that enhance the ability of bacteria to develop resistance to antimicrobial agents. While we cannot stop bacteria from multiplying, humans are contributing to this selective pressure, and by changing a few simple things, we can slow the rate of resistance. Another statement from the World Health Organization says that antimicrobial resistance is a complex problem driven by many, many interconnected factors, and as such, a single isolated intervention will have very little impact. Only coordinated action is required to minimize the emergence and spread of antimicrobial resistance. So, as a single person, we can make an action, but the only change can come if we all do these basic things. First, keep your hands clean and avoid sick people. Second, get vaccinated and keep your vaccinations up to date. Third, use antimicrobial drugs only when they are prescribed. Fourth, colds, the flu, and sore throat are all examples of viruses. Not only do antibiotics not help you fight off a virus, but they will increase your risk of having an antibiotic treatment be resisted in the future. Now, there are over-the-counter medications to ease your symptoms, but it's very important not to seek out a prescription drug for something like the cold or the flu. Fifth, never sharing antimicrobial drugs with others or using leftover prescriptions. The European Center for Disease Control and Prevention also warns that when diagnoses are not accurately made, broad-spectrum antibiotics, or antibiotics that kill a large proportion of various bacteria, and not only the bacteria responsible for the disease, are prescribed. Because the causative microorganism is not known, Misuse of the antibiotic leads to the emergence and the selection of resistant bacteria. So because the bacteria begin to adapt as soon as they are exposed to antimicrobial medication, it is vital to only take them when you absolutely need them so you don't misuse them. Modern medicine is an amazing blessing, but the ability for bacteria to adapt so quickly has proved to be a little daunting. By understanding this phenomenon and how to slow the process, medicine will be able to help those that need it. Antimicrobial resistance, the way that bacteria adapt to medicine, is an issue that is affecting people on a global as well as an interpersonal scale. Ensuring that medicine's efficacy is preserved for as long as possible is reliant on the proper use of it by each individual person. It's possible to stop the microorganisms from multiplying, as we can do. It alters the selective pressure that they are under so that they don't adapt as quickly. Cleanliness, vaccinations, and proper use of antibiotics are advised to elongate the healing properties of our medication. As a combined effort, I hope that we can make the effects of our medicine long-lasting, with microbiologists are finding a more permanent solution.